and I pushed her, and it was apparent what she was saying is they were minors.
And of those 8, how many seemed to be potentially minors?
2 to 3.
Nightmares and intrusive thoughts make me feel like it's a constant struggle.
A new lawsuit has just been filed naming Shad Diddy Combs as the defendant in a sexual abuse crime involving a 9-year-old minor. And you are not going to believe how Diddy was coercing minors as young as 7 years old to say yes to intimate acts. Join us as we take a deeper look at one of Hollywood's darkest secrets, unveiling the curtains on new Diddy allegations from a 9-year-old minor.
And plus I heard the puppet was going to be there, so I got scared. Checking out. So thank you for this award. It means a lot to me.
Sean Diddy Combs, a founder of Bad Boy Records, is currently facing a serious legal fight. Over 25 lawsuits have been filed against him, with more than 100 victims speaking out about accusations of sexual abuse, manipulation, and even rape, including cases involving victims as young as 7 years old. These victims are now represented in a criminal case led by the Busby law firm. The claims against Diddy are backed by physical evidence, DNA samples, and police reports, all suggesting his guilt.
The idea that there are sexual predators in power, not just in Hollywood, but I think all across any place there's a boss with underlings in any corporation or any industry, you have a type of sexual politics that goes on that can slide in between appropriate ethics and decorum to inappropriate behavior to the point of harassment and sexual predatory behavior.
Well, I mean, I think people understand that, but the larger question is there a culture of complicity in Hollywood where women are afraid to speak up because they'll be blacklisted, men are afraid to speak up because either they're out of the same fear or they just think, well, this is the way the system works.
I think there are people that say, hey, this is how it works, pure and simple, and this is why I got into it, and this is why I have power. This is how it works, and you have to understand that. That does not carry the day. Complicity is also complicity. The people who know, well, look, this is how we do business, and that's what it's got to be done. I'm sorry it's like that. So beware. That's also present, without a doubt, but it does not carry the day. There's also people that were afraid to speak out, who were victims, that did not go forward, that signed negotiated settlement deals of which a non-disclosure agreement was part and parcel to it. That also does not carry.
Damon Williams, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, has stated that Sean Diddy Combs used his influence to manipulate minors into engaging in inappropriate acts. He would tell them that their careers depended on agreeing to his demands, and in some cases, even threaten physical harm if they refused.
Another instance, another minor, told allegedly by Sean Combs that he would make him a star, but he needed to visit with him in private about it, away from his parents. Once they were in a private area, allegedly Mr. Combs made the victim perform oral sex upon him. Another incident, an individual 15 years old at the time, flown to New York City to attend a party, was drugged, and then taken into a private room, allegedly in the presence of Mr. Combs, where this female individual, minor, was raped, and then other individuals took turns raping her. Another individual, 26 at the time of the occurrence, was picked up allegedly by Mr. Combs and several other people in a black SUV from the airport, was given one drink in the SUV, and then literally woke up the next day not knowing what had happened, but with pain and damage to both her vagina and her anus, where she then went to the hospital. She was missing her underwear and her shoes. Another instance, an individual, this time not a minor, attended a group dinner, allegedly with Sean Combs in Miami. She wasn't drinking because she was pregnant, but whatever she drank at the table, apparently, at least according to her, was laced with something. She blacked out, and she woke up in the same bed, again allegedly, with Mr. Combs, in his mansion in Miami. Her vagina and her anus were torn and sore.
The list of people allegedly abused by Diddy includes several high-profile celebrities who were minors at the time. Names like Justin Bieber, Usher, Meek Mill, and others have been mentioned as victims of Diddy's alleged manipulation and abuse. As the trial against him moves forward, more details about these claims are expected to be revealed to the public.
We tend to name people in these lawsuits. We're not going to do it in interviews. We're not going to do it, without doing our due diligence, because obviously, these types of allegations are very hurtful to people if they're not true, and very hurtful, frankly, if they are true. But if they're true, you shouldn't have been in the room and you shouldn't have been participating. So I anticipate that we're going to start filing lawsuits, and it may not be big names at first, but we have a long list of names, and you might imagine in situations like this, that when a victim tells us that this person was in the room or this person participated, we want to do as much due diligence as humanly possible before we file that case, because in the United States, in almost every state, public filings are in fact public. And, when you name somebody in a lawsuit, the press is going to pick it up, and we're aware of that. So we're going to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's. And I expect that there will be some people named in these lawsuits that will raise some eyebrows.
After a 2016 video showing Diddy physically kicking Cassie surfaced on CNN, other victims felt empowered to come forward and seek justice. Many have started sharing their stories of abuse by Diddy and his associates. One of these victims, Thalia Graves, has filed a 26-page lawsuit naming Diddy and his bodyguard, Joseph Sherman, as defendants.
The woman was visibly emotional during the news conference as she recounted a horrific and violent assault.
The internal pain after being sexually assaulted has been incredibly deep and hard to put into words.
Thalia Graves, sitting next to her attorney Gloria Allred, alleges Sean Diddy Combs and his former bodyguard, Joseph Sherman, drugged and raped her at Bad Boy's record studio in 2001 when she was 25 years old.
I'm emotionally scarred. It has been hard for me to trust others, to form healthy relationships, or even feel safe in my own skin.
According to the lawsuit filed on Tuesday in New York, Thalia was lured to the studio under false pretenses. She claims she was given a drink spiked with drugs, causing her to pass out. When she woke up, Thalia says she was restrained and being brutally assaulted by Diddy and his bodyguard.
Flashbacks, nightmares, and intrusive thoughts make me feel like it's a constant struggle.
In 2023, Thalia says she found out the rape had been recorded and through the years had been distributed to multiple people.
Defendant Combs and another defendant published and/or disseminated the videos without plaintiff's knowledge or consent.
Combs is facing at least 10 similar lawsuits. He remains locked up awaiting trial on human trafficking and racketeering charges.
I'm glad that he is locked up, but that's a temporary feeling of relief.
Thalia says she didn't go public until now because she says that Combs allegedly threatened to ruin her life if she said it.
Tapes of Diddy's alleged parties where inappropriate activities took place have surfaced and have even been seized by the FBI. Courtney Burgess, a source close to Diddy, has been subpoenaed in a federal investigation where 8 incriminating tapes were shown to a grand jury. Burgess is one of several celebrities called to testify against Diddy. As more victims speak out, Diddy's chances of escaping accountability continue to shrink.
Include descriptions of what the witness says he saw on those tapes. So I asked him about that, and he answered what he could, given the limitations imposed on him after testifying before the grand jury. Out of those 8 videos, 8 celebrities, 6 men and 2 women, how many of those 8 celebrities were close to being underage or potentially underage?
2 males.
2 males. And of those 8 celebrities, how many of them were intoxicated or under the influence of drugs?
this is going to be all speculation. I just want to preface it by he wouldn't know if
Appeared
they
to be.
were right.
Sure.
Appeared to
Let
be
me rephrase
right,
it.
based on yes.
Understand. Out of the 8 celebrities who were recorded having intimate relations with Sean Combs, how many of them appeared to be either inebriated or intoxicated or under the influence?
All of them. All of them.
Out of those 8, how many appear to be potentially victimized? How many might have been victimizing?
I think all. To be honest, all.
Were victims
They
or
victims.
were perpetrating?
Victims.
They were all 8 were victimized.
Yeah.
Meaning
Victim.
this was happening to them and they were inebriated.
Right. Not knowing, I guess, how much proof it was in it, what they was doing.
And of those 8, how many seemed to be potentially minors?
2 to 3.
Producers from TMZ have reportedly uncovered one of Diddy's alleged tapes, showing him participating in a threesome with other A-list celebrities at one of his notorious parties. In a recent interview with The Nation Harvey Levin from TMZ described what he saw in the tapes, which paints a troubling picture for Diddy. Based on this evidence, it seems likely that Diddy will face significant legal consequences and may not be leaving prison anytime soon.
You made a lot of allegations, right? Are you expected to eventually turn those things over, or?
Well, that's what we're going to head over to do now. So we have a hearing now to determine what we're going to do in terms of what documents we'll have to turn over and what documents we do not.
So why were you in court tonight?
Just to give testimony to the grand jury. He was subpoenaed by the court, so as we all know, if you don't answer a subpoena, the marshals will come to your house as they came to his house and they will bring you here. So that's why we're here today.
I know you can't mention celebrities per se. You did mention some in the interview. So just to clarify, you can back that up with actual factual footage.
We have, it's things that we have, but we got to go to the other courthouse. So I don't know if that's any more questions, but we got another hearing to go.
Are you nervous or do you feel cool?
Nah, I ain't never nervous. The only thing that's fair to me is God.
I know you did mention what was on the flash drive before. Would you be able to kind of go over that now, or is that something that you can't discuss?
No, we're trying to discuss that now, what we will be able to talk to in terms of what was available and what was on those flash drives.
Okay.
But it was the book,
So it is Kim Porter's book, but not necessarily some of the stuff with the celebs that were mentioned besides.
It's hers. Nobody touched it.
Oh, so it is her official book.
Yes. Nobody.
And no one touched it.
Nobody altered it. Nothing.
So it's not the copy that the gentleman said that he was selling before. No.
No.
It's 2 different copies.
Ariel Mitchell, a lawyer representing an A-list celebrity who claims to have been abused by Diddy, has also spoken out about the existence of Diddy's alleged tapes. She revealed that someone even approached her, attempting to sell one of these tapes. Mitchell's client has accused Diddy of sexually abusing them as a minor, alleging that they were drugged during the incident.
Who claims she's been at a freak-off and said she saw children, and it was hard for her to say it.
It was very hard for her to say it, Ashley. So what she said was that she was flown out from LA to Miami by the Saudi prince. And they ended up eventually on Star Island at one of Diddy's parties. She says, among many other things, I mean, she goes into detail. This, she says, happened in 2018. She says that she walked into the house and there was a cluster of adults around what she described as little people. And they were dressed up as Japanese Barbies. I forgot the name. It's Harak something. You can help me out here. It's a certain type of Barbie. Anyway.
I know the name, but I've forgotten it. But go ahead.
So she explained that they were just clustered around these little people, and I kept pushing her, and she eventually said, look, they are little people who should not be at an adult party. And I pushed her, and it was apparent what she was saying is they were minors. Now, she didn't see anything specific that was going on with them, other than that adults were kind of huddled around them. But she told just a wild story about what was going on at the house, even at 7 in the morning, that this thing apparently raged all night long.
You know, it's amazing. TMZ always gets such great scoops, and this one might be one of your best as well. You got a hold of one of the Freakoff tapes. Your producers have seen it. The description is, and I'll quote, "It's porn directed by Diddy himself." And a male sex worker really sort of walks through what happened in the experiences that he had. They didn't sound illegal, but they sure seem to comport with a lot of the other stories that have been told.
Yeah. So this was a threesome. What you would ask me about earlier about Tania Wallace, she said there were more than 100 people at that party, including at least 4 celebrities. But this, what you're talking about now, was a threesome, and that's something that the U.S. attorney even referenced, and his lawyer in an earlier documentary we did. He was describing threesomes. He says it was all consensual. So yes, what we're told is that this male sex worker was flown out to various locations over a couple of years: Miami, New York, Los Angeles, and one other. And they would meet in hotel rooms.
Jan Deal, a source who has been close to Diddy throughout much of his career, is now speaking out, suggesting that Diddy's time may be running out. Deal believes that one of Diddy's co-conspirators could eventually testify against him in the criminal case he's facing. The first person to cooperate often receives a reduced sentence or even immunity. Diddy is reportedly aware of this possibility and is allegedly pressuring those involved to stay silent.
I was just recently contacted by someone who wanted me to essentially represent them in the sale of one of the Diddy tapes.
You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
yes.
The shopping thing is...
Yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood. But one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of, and to contact the person who was in the video to see if they were interested in purchasing the video before it became a public knowledge.
I've heard this before, so like a catch and kill.
Catch and kill, correct.
Wow. Can you, and I guess you can't reveal the person who is on
No, I can't explain who the person was, but
High profile?
Mr. Combs was in the tape, and this other person is, I would venture to say, more high profile than Mr.
As more lawsuits and testimonies come to light, the pressure on Diddy is growing. Will justice finally be served for his victims? Stay tuned as we continue to follow this unfolding story and investigate the disturbing allegations. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay informed with the latest updates.
All about the money. They saw what he did to Cassie. With the kicking, the punching. They saw what they did to Cassie. They know did nobody in America like that. So now, these people are represented by a brand. Whether it's something about the music, clothing, movies. They're not gonna come out and speak on nothing that has anything to do with them. And they praying that they not on the tape doing crazy stuff, being oiled up in the whole 9 yards. They praying. So until the feds say, hey, yo, listen here. We got you on, hey, buddy, we got you on this tape. And girl looked like she was pretty young. We're not gonna show it, but we need you to come and testify against Brother Love, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, you know, Sean Combs. That's when they're gonna start talking. And they're not gonna be talking in his favor. When the feds come to them and show them what they got on tape, because if he had 250 tapes all over, 250 cameras all over the house, somebody got caught stealing a cookie out the cookie jar. It could be your favorite pastor. It could be your favorite politician. But they didn't think they was being watched. And Brother Love was watching.